This time suck, in this video we are looking at the Church of England by 1603. So first of all we'll look at the reasons for the survival of the Church of England. As Elizabeth had a strong interest in maintaining the 1559 settlement because she believed that it was a good compromise that created both religious and social stability. So her strict measures towards the Catholics during the 1570s and beyond ensured their diminishing influence, and she was unwilling to ever listen to the Puritans within Parliament. However, there were other reasons why the Church of England survived in 1603, as Elizabeth was aided from 1583 onwards by her Archbishop of Canterbury, John Whitgift, and Whitgift offered his uncompromising support for Anglicanism, and he gave Elizabeth a powerful ally against those who opposed her religious policies. The establishment of the Court of High Commission also gave the authorities a means to prosecute religious radicals. So Whitgift obtained increased powers for the court by the 1580s, and he used these powers to pass the Seditious Sectaries Act in 1593, thus making Puritanism an offence. Now, although radicals did exist in the period, and Elizabeth was forced to ensure that they did not receive a large amount of influence, the majority of the population disliked the innovations proposed by the Puritans and kept to the middle ground. This meant that radicalism was not as widespread as one may have thought. So the fact that attendance to the Anglican services were also made compulsory from 1559, and with the threat of fines for non-attendance, meant that people went to church out of fear of fines and peer pressure because everybody else was also going. Catholicism also became discredited within England because of its associations with rebellion against the legitimate monarch and undertones of foreign control, like that of the Pope and then the Spanish, such as the excommunication of Elizabeth in 1570. The events in Europe at the time also reminded Englishmen of the dangers of encouraging religious disagreements, and therefore they were more likely to accept the religious settlement. So events in Europe included the French Wars of Religion between the Huguenots and the Catholic League, and then the civil wars within the Netherlands. So by 1603, the Anglican Church had also influenced two generations of English people, and this meant that there were more people willing to accept it as the official religious status of the country. So next thing we need to look at is the Richard Hooker and the Laws of Ecclesiastical Polity in 1593. And the Anglican Church was able to gradually develop its theology, and its supporters established a credible justification for it. So the most effective case was made in 1593 by Richard Hooker in the Laws of Ecclesiastical Polity. So Hooker accepted that the Anglican Church was a compromise between Catholicism and continental reformers, yet he argued that it was more than a mere convenience, and that it represented the true Christian faith. So Hooker stated that the unnecessary superstitions of a medieval papacy had been stripped away, and it left just the essentials of Christianity required for salvation. So these essentials were simple. It was reading of the Bible and commemoration of the Christ's sacrifice on the cross. Hooker argued that the English Church, like any other forms of human society, may make laws for its own government as long as they were not contrary to the Scripture. So this meant that the ceremonies should be left to the discretion of the monarch and the bishops, and whilst bishops were not essential to the church, they were a mere convenience. So Hooker criticised the Puritans for their complete reliance on the scripture because he said that it was unnecessary to follow the practices of the apostles as an invariable model. He also disagreed the Puritans in their belief of sola scriptura, which was the concept that the Bible contains all that is needed for salvation. Instead, he stated that human authority may intervene when the Bible is silent. There were some shortcomings of the Church of England, however, so compared to the high standards demanded by the Puritans, the Anglican Church seemed to lack the same moral laxity that had tainted Catholicism in the early years, and the religious divisions continued after Elizabeth had died, and it did lead to the civil wars of the 17th century. But in conclusion, Catholicism had declined, and the attachment once felt towards the Catholic Church had been transferred to the Anglican Church. The Puritans had also pushed too hard for a radical change and had failed, so this meant that the Anglican Church was well established in the country. In political terms, the establishment of the new Church of England had been successful, as England had successfully avoided the destructive religious wars that had occurred in France and the Netherlands, and Elizabeth had emerged as a strong and independent leader. This was partly because she was not bound to the wishes of the Pope, and partly because the government of the Church gave Elizabeth both powers of patronage and a source of authority over her people. So thank you for watching this video, and see you soon. Bye.